Chris met with Beyond Stillness over the course of 8 weeks to articulate and publicly share this story of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. This interview was recorded during our final meeting together. To learn more about our programs, services, or to sponsor a guest on their story crafting journey, please visit www.beyondstillness.org. This story is presented in partnership with Santa Clara County's Stroke Awareness Foundation. We're honored to amplify voices from Santa Clara County and the surrounding areas. Visit www.strokeinfo.org to learn more. We're re-releasing Chris Wilder's June 2024 episodes. With decades of nonprofit experience and a strong commitment to the stroke community, including his work on the board of the foundation, we are thrilled to welcome Chris Wilder to the board of Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke. This week on Beyond Stillness Stories After Stroke, we welcome guest Chris Wilder. Chris founded several bands in the 80s, toured the world as a lead guitarist for the punk rock band MDC, and has worked extensively with nonprofit organizations. In 2021, while serving as the executive director of Valley Health Foundation, Chris suffered a stroke. His story is titled Part of Something Greater. Thank you for joining us for Part 2, Chris Wilder's interview. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Beyond Stillness offers a moment of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, we create a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. As we begin today, we take a moment of pause. A moment to honor the way that wisdom has emerged through recovery. And we give thanks. Now, Chris Wilder's interview.
Hello, Molly.
Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Chris, in your story, you said the doctors cracked your skull open, took out your left temporal lobe, and put your skull back together again.
Yeah, and that's a shortened version of the story. It took a long time to do, but that's what happened. And in fact, they didn't put my skull back where it was. The piece of skull actually stayed on ice at Good Samaritan Hospital. And the neurosurgeon, who's a friend of mine at Valley Medical Center, did a 3D printed version of it out of plastic because he said that was safer, better for infection control and rejection elimination. So we put that in. And then I got my piece of skull, and I've actually had a friend of mine help me cut it up into pieces and make guitar picks out of it.
Okay. Guitar picks. And how did your friend make guitar picks out of it?
Just cutting the skull into pieces and then laminating them. Quite done yet, but we'll be done soon.
And how many guitar picks can you make out of that portion of your skull?
Well, it depends on whether we can cut the pieces in half sort of lengthwise. I'm not sure if they're thick enough to do that. But if we can do that, then I think we'll have a dozen. A pretty good sized piece of skull that they had to remove.
Yeah. So those are a dozen really important people in your lives that would receive a pick from you. From
Correct.
Your skull.
Yes. I've had a lot of guitar players that I've worked with over the years. So the challenge is going to be deciding who gets one and who doesn't.
I'm glad I'm not in your position for that. I'm sure that you have a lot of important people in your life.
I do. I wish I could give everyone a guitar pick, but
Oh. So you don't have a left temporal lobe now. What does
correct.
that mean for you? What are your challenges at this point?
Well, the left temporal lobe controls a lot of things, including speech and some memory and recall. And that's why they said to my wife when I was in the hospital in a coma, if he comes out of this, you may have to make some hard decisions about what kind of life he would want to lead because he may not be able to recognize you or anyone. He may not be able to make new memories. He may not be able to communicate properly. But because I can do all those things, a lot of the doctors think maybe what happened was when I had my stroke and that part of my brain was damaged, all that information somehow got migrated over to another part of my brain where it took over. So in that way, I got lucky.
Man, the body is amazing. The
And
brain is amazing.
yeah, I think all of us who've survived a stroke are lucky in one way. I mean, unlucky that it happened to us in the first place, but lucky that we're here, right?
Mm. Tell me more about that.
Well, it could have been a lot worse. I've met a lot of stroke survivors who are in much worse shape than I am, and I know you have too. And a lot of people don't survive a stroke. So for those of us who have, in a way, we're the lucky ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chris, I know that you're actively working on your recovery. What are you focusing on right now in recovery?
Well, a lot of stuff at once. Still working on how to walk properly. Learning how to walk a second time in my life is not what I ever planned on. Working on moving my right arm better. I've got some good movement, but not a ton. But I can move it, and that's fun. I'm continuing to work on my memory and my speech, working on just all sorts of things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned at one point that Valley Medical Center was like home to you. You said that the doctors and the nurses and the therapists there were your friends and that you ran their foundation before your stroke. Can you
Correct.
describe to me how it felt to be surrounded by doctors and nurses that you knew personally?
Well, I love that part. I loved trusting everyone who was working on me and helping me, even though lots of times the things they were helping me do were painful and difficult. It was easy to motivate me when I trusted them and I believed in their therapies and their ideas. So I worked really hard because I knew that they must know what they were talking about.
Hmm.
As a result, I learned a lot of stuff pretty quickly, and a lot of stuff has been a long time coming.
Yeah. And you trusted your surgeon enough instead of using your actual skull. You trusted him to create a specific piece that would fit in your skull.
Yeah, there was a couple reasons for that. One is he said, if we use a piece of fabricated skull, then the odds of your body rejecting the piece go down and infection chances go down.
Hmm.
Also, he said, I haven't been with your actual skull since it was taken out, so I don't know how they've stored it, what temperature it's been at. And because I can't tell all that and don't know all that, I'd rather eliminate the guesswork and the chances and use something that we create. And again, I trust him greatly for lots of reasons. He's a good friend and a good man. And from everything I know about him, a great surgeon. I'm lucky I'm able to access quality health care. And I was from the moment I had my stroke until today.
Yeah. How has your perspective of Valley Medical Center changed or solidified since you were a patient there?
Well, it was the first time I'd ever been an inpatient for any reason. And the only thing that changed was my wish that some of the nurses had helped me quicker get to the toilet when I needed to go. And in fact, I had a Hoyer lift, which is a wonderful piece of equipment over my bed. And the nurses use it a lot to get me to the toilet. But some of the nurses, it turns out, didn't like it because they weren't comfortable using it. What I learned there is that not all nurses are up on all the incredible latest equipment that all hospitals have.
Hmm.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
But beyond that, my ideas about Valley Medical Center were just really strengthened. I had great care. I feel good about what happened to me there. And I think I'm doing really well today, in part because of their wonderful work and care.
Absolutely. And how important it is to trust the professionals, because I think a lot of the anxiety in our recovery process is fear of what's the right thing. And to know and trust the medical professionals helps you release some of that anxiety and tension and fear so that you can then focus
Yeah,
on.
and all of us who suffered strokes have plenty of anxiety and fear already. So being able to not have to worry about that part of it was pretty good.
Yeah. At one point in our conversations, you mentioned how it's important to take advantage of a variety of therapy programs.
Yeah, whatever is offered you, whatever you can find, and whatever you can afford, or whatever your insurance company will help you with, take advantage of.
Huh. What
You
are
know,
some unconventional therapy programs that you've
I'm
tried?
not unconventional they are. A lot of people don't know how good acupuncture can be, but I recommend trying that if you can. Um, I recommend meditation. If you're not into meditation, try it. I certainly wasn't ever, but I've been doing that since I got home, and it's helpful. And lately, for the past month or two, I've been doing microdosing of psilocybin mushrooms, and I find that's really improved my recall, and they say it has long-term health benefits.
Hmm.
And it's easier now to get. You can go online and get them. You can get them in capsule form or gummies or the raw mushrooms.
Yeah, I've heard that. John from Portland was also talking about how helpful that was in his recovery. It's more readily available these days.
Yes, it is.
For some people, it's really difficult to start meditating, especially people who have never done it before or have tried and didn't like it. How did you start and how did you get into meditation?
I used an online program, Headspace, it's called. And I like Headspace. You get a nice guy who narrates you and walks you through the process. And I found it very helpful. I mean, at first, when I was newly home, I wasn't good at it because I couldn't stay awake through the sessions. I kept falling asleep, which is also okay, but not really the point. So I had to wait till I was a little bit more healed until I could fully take advantage of it. But I recommend it
Hmm. Maybe you were taking advantage of it in a different way at the beginning. You
in
just
different way.
needed it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Is it still that Australian guy that narrates?
yes,
I love his voice.
yep, me too.
Chris, in your story, you said, don't ignore difficult stuff because it's difficult.
Yes,
You shared guidance that you gave friends who were unsure how to act after your stroke.
yep,
That can be difficult. It sounds like some friends have been very supportive through it all.
yeah. I would say most of my friends have been great, but it took a long time for some of them to reach out and to know what to say or how to ask what I needed or when to come visit. And I think once they realized it was okay for them to come and see me and that I wasn't made of glass, that really helped.
Hmm.
So I see my friends all the time and it feels good.
So when they reach out to you and when they come by and visit, that's really supportive for you.
Means the world. I've always leaned on my friends. Feels good to be surrounded by good people who want to come and help me. And since I've been more mobile over the past year and a half, they always want to take me to lunch. So we go out and do things a lot of times.
God, that's great. What are some of the things that they did at the beginning when you first returned home that were helpful?
Just calling me on the phone, having a chat, stopping by for a short visit, even when I was not able to stay awake for very long. I remember in the beginning, I could never go a full day without a nap.
Mm.
Nowadays, I'm taking a nap maybe once every other day.
Wow.
But when I first came home, and like a lot of stroke survivors know, the idea of going all day without a nap is just not thinkable.
At
And
all.
that's part of the brain healing itself. You need lots of rest. So in the beginning, it was harder, but even then, a lot of my friends said, look, I'll come visit. And when you need to kick me out, just kick me out and take a nap. And they
Mm.
understood that. So
Yeah.
again, it's lucky. It's nice to be surrounded by people who understand the situation, who are willing to help, but be willing to help on your terms.
Yeah, it sounds like you were very clear about what you needed at that point.
I was. People want to bring food. People want to take me places. All those things can be helpful, but not always necessary. Sometimes just a quick visit is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, just a change of the scene.
Yep,
Chris, you were the bass player in a blues band named Legally Blue when you had your stroke. How
correct.
did you and the band navigate the transition after your stroke?
Well, the transition was in part ways very easy. I couldn't play bass anymore, so they just asked me, Chris, would it be okay if we found someone to fill your seat until you are recovered and can come rejoin the band? And I said, absolutely. I would not want to see the band not continue just because I can't be in it right now. And at the time, I thought, well, this will be short term. I'll be back in the band in a couple of months. I didn't realize how long recovery might take. And so nowadays, thinking about the new guy who I've seen play with the band a couple of times, and he's very good, the idea of kicking him out of the band again is ridiculous. So I feel like I've done my time in the band. I played in the band for 20 years.
Hmm.
And so it's the new guy's time. And the band sounds great even without me. And that's okay.
Wow, that goes back to your whole point of the story that you're part of something greater.
The
So,
band was not in existence before me. I
oh,
helped form the band with our guitar player.
oh,
And we've had a number of changes in musicians over the years, but I've been the only bass player until my stroke.
wow. And you believed in the band and the music and you want it to continue.
Absolutely.
Michelle Tipton Burton from the Department of Occupational Therapy in San Jose State originally nominated you as an inspiring stroke survivor. She's the one that sent me your name.
Well,
I can,
she's a good friend and she's been a great therapist for me.
oh yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
can see many reasons why she sent you to me.
Well, thank you. And I thank her.
Chris, will you please share about a couple stroke survivors who have been inspiring to you throughout your recovery?
Um, sure. And you can see the t-shirt I'm wearing here. There's an event called Golf for Life
Uh-huh.
put on by my friend Deb Shaw, and Deb is super inspiring. She's had many strokes, but keeps on fighting for more and more recovery. She and her husband, Bob, have done a great job putting on this event every year in San Jose. And I recommend anyone who is either able to travel to San Jose or lives near San Jose to sign up for Golf for Life. Happens every September, and it's super fun. You don't even have to be a golfer. You'll still enjoy it. There's putting competitions. If you can play a little bit, you can go out on the course and play. There's PGA professionals out there who will help you and teach you things so you can learn how to get back to a game that you maybe used to love, or maybe if you've never played golf, this was your intro to it. So Deb
Wow.
is amazing and has been a huge inspiration to me. And I'll tell a quick story about a new friend I have named Ash, who had a stroke about a year ago. And I was introduced to him through a mutual friend. And when I met him, he was in a wheelchair, and he and his wife had a brand new baby. And that put things in perspective quickly for me. I thought, wow, I think my difficulties and challenges are hard. Imagine having a new baby and having a stroke. But then we planned to get together a couple of months ago in downtown Santa Cruz at a pub we both know and like. And my wife and I pulled into the parking lot, and he and his wife pulled into the spot next to ours. He got out of the car with a one-armed walker, no wheelchair, and just headed for the building that we were going to go to with no support except his one-armed cane. And so I looked at my wife. I said, well, I guess I'm leaving my wheelchair behind, aren't I? So I got out of the car and I took my cane and I followed him in.
A
So
little
although I'd
peer
had a
pressure.
stroke way before his peer pressure and his strength gave me the inspiration that I better just get on with it and try as hard as I can. So I followed him in, and he hasn't used a wheelchair since.
Wow. Wow,
Well,
Chris.
I mean, these are stories that most stroke survivors after a while can tell. You meet people through your recovery and events or groups online that you join or whatever, and everyone has an important and inspiring story.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love meeting with people like you who are willing to share their stories with others.
Well, thank you. I think most people are willing to share. It just takes some people time to realize that they can do it and that they feel comfortable with it.
Mm. Such is life, right? It takes time for us to realize we can do it.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it's easy for me because I've always been one to overshare and to want to engage with people. And I've just been that way since probably before I was playing in bands and being on stage.
huh,
But certainly that solidified it. I've just always been a ham and always been wanting to share. And I think that sharing helps you connect with people and it always helps them one way or another.
agreed, agreed. Sharing is two-way. I think it's powerful to listen to each other. It's also powerful to share our perspective, our thoughts, our stories.
Agreed.
Chris, you are a fascinating individual. You've played in bands of many genres. You've worked for and run a variety of nonprofits to serve the community, and you had a stroke. At this point in your life, what do you wish you could tell yourself, your teenage self?
Um, I wish I could tell my teenage self, drugs might be fun for a while, but stay away from them because they're no good for you. And even though they're fun for a while, that feeling goes away. And eventually you're left with the feeling that you just want them, but you know you're not supposed to have them and shouldn't have them. And it's just one more obstacle on your way to a successful, healthy life.
Mm.
So I wish I could tell my young self that. And when I was young, I was in really good physical shape. I played water polo in high school. And I wish I'd been able to tell myself then, hey, don't lose this activity and physical fitness that you're doing. But between the time I graduated from high school and my adulthood, I sort of got out of the habit of being physically active and staying in good shape. And I wish I had not done that.
Huh. And what are your suggestions for other stroke survivors out there?
I would suggest just keep pushing yourself. And on the days that things are difficult, try to reflect on people who have it harder than you and reflect on how good it's going to be when you get over that plateau and achieve that milestone, because you will. You just got to fight. Stroke recovery does not come easy. And some days it's painful and frustrating and terrible. Well, guess what? We got to get through it. So keep on pushing and keep on fighting.
Chris, thank you for sharing your powerful stories about trusting the professionals, trusting that you will get better. Your stories about connection, connecting with your friends, connecting with your community, connecting with other stroke survivors.
Yeah. And if anyone listening to my story wants to connect, the easiest way to do that with me is on Facebook. Just look up Chris Wilder. I live in Los Gatos, California. Send me a message and I will answer it.
Oh. Chris, you're a friend to many. You're a friend to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thank you for connecting. Really enjoyed our time together. I enjoy our conversations. In your life experiences, you have a wealth of life experiences. So thank you for sharing those too.
Thank you, Molly.
Storytelling empowers us to share our experiences in a way that invites others to reflect on their own. In closing, we offer reflection questions as an opportunity to spark dialogue with yourself, friends, family, or fellow stroke survivors. In a moment, I will read questions aloud. You can also find them written in the podcast episode description. Community conversation prompts. How do you stay motivated in difficult times? In what ways do you join with others to work towards something greater?
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Thank you for joining us for Part 2, Chris Wilder's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, Chris Wilder's story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode, Chris Wilder shared how music, leadership, and friendship helped guide his stroke recovery. His journey reminds us that purpose and support can carry us through. If you found value in today's episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review so others can find these powerful stories too. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. This story is presented in partnership with Santa Clara County's Stroke Awareness Foundation, that's founded on the mission to bring life-saving, standardized stroke treatment to Santa Clara County, California. Today, all 10 hospitals in Santa Clara County are stroke certified. For over 2 decades, the Stroke Awareness Foundation has raised awareness and empowered the community through education on the warning signs of stroke. The Stroke Awareness Foundation works to reach all of our communities through multilingual Be Fast education. Know the signs, save a life. Recognizing stroke symptoms quickly improves stroke outcomes and can make all the difference. Together, we save lives and improve the health of our community. These are common stroke symptoms. Be fast. B, balance, sudden loss of balance or coordination. E, eyes, sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. F, face, facial drooping or uneven smile. A, arms, weakness or numbness in one arm. S, speech, slurred speech or difficulty speaking. T, time to call 911.